Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something really practical, how we learn effectively.
Yeah, specifically how to make things stick without, feeling totally overwhelmed.
Exactly. You sent over the study, Improving the Use of Retrieval Practice for Both Easy and Difficult Materials from the Educational Psychology Review.
Right. It looked really interesting.
So our mission today, let's unpack it, see what we can actually use from it.
Sounds good. What really hooked me was this central question it asks.
Which is?
Well, we kind of know that actively recalling info retrieval practice is generally good for learning.
Right, like quizzing yourself instead of just rereading.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the study points out, and we probably feel this too, we often avoid doing that,
Yeah.
especially when the material feels hard.
Oh, definitely. If it's tough, I just want to look at it again.
So these experiments try to figure out why we do that and maybe what can help shift that pattern.
Okay, so let's get into experiment one then.
Yeah.
What was the setup?
All right, so participants learned some material. Then, for each bit of information, they had to rate two things.
Okay, what were they?
First, how much mental effort it felt like it took them to learn it.
Uh-huh. Like, how hard did they have to think?
Yeah. And second, how well they thought they'd learned it. The study calls this their judgment of learning.
Right, their sort of confidence level in knowing it?
Precisely. And after making those ratings, they got a choice for each item.
A choice between.
Either restudy the information, just look at it again, or try retrieval practice. Actively recall it.
Got it. So, learn, rate effort and confidence, then choose.
Hmm.
Reread or recall. What did they find?
Well, the first big finding probably won't surprise anyone. Difficulty really mattered.
How so?
People were just less likely to choose the recall option, the retrieval practice, for items they felt were difficult compared to the easier ones.
Yeah, that tracks. Like we said, if it feels hard, you kind of want the safety net of just looking at it again.
It's that default mode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just passive review feels, well, easier.
But they didn't stop there, right? They looked into the why.
Exactly. And this is where it gets quite interesting. They found this sort of chain reaction happening.
Ooh, okay. What was the chain?
So, first link, difficult material led people to say it required more mental effort.
Makes sense. Hard stuff takes more brain power.
Then, that feeling of high effort led to lower judgments of learning. So, this feels hard, I must not be getting it very well.
Okay. The effort makes you doubt your understanding.
Right. And that lower confidence, that lower judgment of learning was the thing that ultimately made them shy away from retrieval practice.
Wow. So it's not just the difficulty itself, but how the difficulty makes you feel about your learning progress.
Exactly. Difficulty, high perceived effort, low confidence, avoidance of self-testing. It really shows how our metacognition, our awareness of our own learning and maybe our emotions influence study choices.
That whole perception layer is key. It's like my brain says this is tough, which makes me feel I'm bad at this. So I choose the easier path of rereading, even if it's not the best one long term.
You've nailed it. And understanding that sequence, that's the perfect setup for experiment two.
Because now they know why people avoid it, they can try to fix it.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
So, experiment two tests an intervention.
Okay, what do they do?
They split the participants. Half got a short instructional intervention. The other half were the control group, no special instructions.
And what was in the instruction? Was it complicated?
Not at all. It was brief, basically explaining that even though restudying feels easier for the hard stuff, retrieval practice is actually better for long-term memory, no matter if the material is easy or difficult.
So just telling them flat out, testing yourself works better even when it feels hard.
Pretty much. Just a clear explanation of the benefits based on, how memory works.
And did it work? What were the results?
They were pretty striking, actually. The group that got that simple explanation, they significantly increased how often they chose retrieval practice.
Really? For both easy and hard stuff?
Yep, for both. Compared to the control group, the intervention group shifted their strategy.
Wow, that's kind of huge, isn't it? Just knowing that the struggle is beneficial changes behavior.
It seems so. It suggests that understanding the why behind a learning strategy can override that initial gut feeling, that instinct to just reread.
It's like giving your rational brain the evidence it needs to convince your I want this to be easy brain.
Yeah, something like that. And they even quantified the change.
Oh, right. You mentioned numbers. What did they find specifically?
Okay, so for the easy items, the odds of the intervention group choosing retrieval practice went up by 2.64 times between the first learning task and the second one after the instruction.
2.5 times more likely, just from that short explanation.
Exactly. And crucially, that increase was significantly bigger than any change seen in the control group.
So it wasn't just chance, it was definitely the intervention doing its work.
Right. It gives a really concrete measure of how effective simply explaining the benefit can be. It led to a real measurable shift.
Okay, let's pause here and connect this back. For someone listening, maybe trying to learn a new skill or prepping for an exam, what's the big message?
I think it's really powerful. When you hit that wall, that dense chapter or a complex concept, your gut might scream, just read it again, slowly.
Yeah, mine definitely does.
But this research strongly suggests pushing yourself to recall it instead. Try to pull it out of your own head, even if it feels difficult, maybe especially if it feels difficult. That's what's going to make it stick long term.
And the really hopeful part is experiment too, right? Just knowing this, just hearing us talk about it now.
Exactly. Just being aware that the effort of recall is the mechanism for better learning. That can be enough motivation to actually do it more often.
So the practical takeaway isn't just about scheduling study time, it's about how you use that time.
Absolutely. It's shifting from passive review of the hard stuff
Yeah.
to active recall.
So instead of just staring at your notes,
Try putting them away and summarizing the key points out loud. Or explain it to an imaginary person. Or, if there are practice questions, actually do them. Don't just glance at the answers,
even if it feels like more work up front.
especially then. That feeling of effort, that slight mental strain, that's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign your brain is actively building stronger connections. It's like resistance training for your memory.
Okay, I like that analogy. The struggle is where the growth happens.
That's a great way to put it.
So if we had to really nail down the core insight from this deep dive,
I'd say it's this. Our brains naturally want to avoid the effort of recalling difficult stuff. We feel the effort, think we're not learning, and back off. But that very effort is actually what makes the learning stick. It's the desirable difficulty. And the good news, just understanding that can empower us to choose that more effective, effortful path.
right, knowing is half the battle, maybe more than half here.
It seems like it can be a significant part, yeah.
So, wrapping up, this study used a specific intervention, explaining the benefits. It worked well. But it does make you think, doesn't it?
Definitely, it opens up questions like, what else could encourage us to use retrieval practice more, especially for challenging things?
Yeah, could we reframe the feeling of effort somehow? Make it feel less like a negative signal and more like, I don't know, a progress bar filling up.
Hmm, that's an interesting idea. Or maybe it's about developing better, easier tools for self-testing, things that feel less like a formal quiz and more integrated into how we consume information.
Like quick pop-up questions in an online article or smarter flashcard apps that adapt to perceived difficulty.
Could be. Lots of possibilities. It's definitely something for listeners to think about in their own learning. How can you, personally, make active recall a more regular habit, especially when things get tough?
A great question to ponder. How do you build that desirable difficulty into your own process? Fascinating stuff.